Hey everyone, it's Raj from 3CB. Brooklyn Nets wing Ben Simmons have been targeting Game 4 of the first round series versus the Celtics as his return date from low back issues, and he's been ramping up now for months since being traded from the Sixers. However, he met with the Nets and told him that he was having a mental block that he believed could lead to stress and trigger more pain in the back, and therefore he sat out. That explanation aligns with what we know about pain and how pain works. Many may think that pain is simply an instantaneous response. That's a very superficial understanding. What happens is that receptors send the signal to our brain interprets that as dangerous or not, and then it shoots back that pain as a warning sign. That interpretation of dangerous or not is multi-factorial, including the person's previous experiences, which is often called a neurotag. It's associating certain experiences and context with a previous pain. It's almost like when you hear music and you have a certain emotional or visual response and memory to that music. There's that tag associated with it. It's the same thing here with pain. Typically, that pain filter is quite effective and it's useful because, of course, the brain's main goal is to protect itself and the body. However, in the case of chronic pain, with Ben, he's been dealing with this now for the entire season and into last year. And also in the case of traumatic cases, often there's an oversensitization of that danger signal. It's almost like, for example, let's say you had a car alarm when you were living in a dangerous neighborhood and that car alarm was constantly going off. However, you then move to a safer area like a suburb, let's say, but that car alarm is still thinking that everything around it is dangerous and therefore constantly going off even when it's not appropriate. That's what can often happen when it comes to that chronic pain. There's a disproportionate response to stimuli and that context. Therefore, in Ben's case, it's quite reasonable to believe that stress and that environment and context of going back into games can lead to that back pain. That mental component is a key and huge part of potential pain response. Further, there's more and more studies showing that pain isn't just linked to physical tissue damage, whether it's studies on MRI imaging that's not correlated to pain, or studies showing that sham procedures just as successful as actual procedures. For example, there's this famous study done on patients who had a knee meniscus tear and half went into surgery and actually had the surgery done. The other half had everything else stay the same except there was no surgery done, but they thought they had the surgery. The outcomes in the long term were almost exactly the same. That really shows the power of the mental aspect and of what I talked about earlier about how you interpret things, and that interpretation can change based on what you think, how you've been treated. More generally, I'm glad that Ben brought this up because it's a much needed discourse to take mental health just as seriously as physical health. You know, if you've seen some of the reactions regarding Ben not playing, you can see just how much work is needed to really take that mental side seriously, because however much people want to say that they respect mental health and that they value it and they hit the like button and they RT tweets on it, when a player actually has mental health issues and how that is triggered and related to physical issues, you see now just the type of reaction that's garnered. In Ben's case, moving forward, the key is really going to be continuing to work on breaking up those mental associations with back pain. And that takes considerable work. It's a very vicious cycle where certain contexts and neurotags lead to pain, which then reinforces that entire cycle. I'm hoping for Ben that having the summer and then being able to play in a less pressurized situation at the start of next year really allows him then to ease into the season and get over some of those mental and physical hurdles.